Hi buddy, it's Julia here and I am back with the third video of the Odd Embellishment series. This time we are talking about swans. As it happens, I love swans. I am very much in love with swans. So I have this photo. It's from a sort of I don't know what you call it, like a place where the birds come and they are safe and they get fed, and it's a big lake. It's very pretty, and every photographer in the nearby area will go there in the spring to take beautiful photos of the birds. That kind of place. It's called Hornborgasjön, and yeah, as a matter of fact, my mom is one of those crazy photographers, so we go there. I am just a crazy painter who paint them, so I can sit at home. I have pulled out all swan things. So in my previous videos, I have talked about how to get all of these odd icons or motifs into your page without it looking weird. And I mentioned in my previous videos about the zebras, as we can see here on the paper. I'm just going to use the leftover piece of that paper for the background on this page. And also on the unicorn, that it's just about embracing the oddness of it. And I thought, I'm going to do just that. I'm going to use all the swans I have. Not quite, because I have a few more. So, I'm going to make this page a 6x12 because I have more photos from this day. There's already in an album, so I thought if I just make a little insert, that will go well. Because in the other layout, it was more about the cranes that comes to the lake. So I thought this would be more about this ones. So I have the background, and there's a very neutral background, and that's the B-side of that zebra paper. So I don't like having scraps. That's really great. And now I'm just laying swans. I have my photo and I used a wood veneer frame from Freckled Fawn. And it said like adventure or something on the other side, but I just flipped it. And then I have that pink paper with the gold foiled swans, and that's from Maggie Holmes Carousel. And then I think all the other swans are from Maggie Holmes too. Here I have my little scrap pouch, and that pouch is just from Freckle Fawn, and I put all my scrap pieces of paper in that. And I find that I use my scraps a lot more when I have them in there. More like usable, I suppose. So I'm going to start by layering some pieces here, and I'm going to add that pink, but I don't want to feel like too sugary. Looking at the page now, it's like a border sugary, I have to say. I'm going to add that green to sort of counterbalance that very light pink. So I have the paper and that sort of grid paper that's from Dear Lizzie, and then the tag is from Maggie Holmes. And I'm going to start to layer some things, and I'm going to layer a lot of swans here. This one I'm holding right now, that is an illustration from a birdie book, and it has the sort of silhouette of the three different swans we have here in Sweden. So I don't know what you call them. The singing swan, maybe? We have a big one and a small one, and then we had like one with a big black lump or bump on its beak. That's my favorite, but we don't have so many of them here, but we do have a few, and I love those. We also have some black swans. We have a lake inside our town in the park, and sometimes there comes a couple of them for a few weeks in the springtime. They are amazingly beautiful, but I think they are from Australia, so I'm not really sure why they are here. I suppose they're lost. But yeah, so I'm just going to add all of those swans, and I really like all the different type of them, how they look. And I think this is the key, that if you have a motif that is quite easily to be recognized, I mean, swan is quite easy to see what it is. If you start to mix them, I feel like you should just continue on. Having one swan, that's just fine. Having two swans, but they look different, that can be a bit odd. But if you have three swans look completely different, you just think you're going for a swan theme. Now on this page, there's so many swans, you cannot count them. So I think that's really great, really. So Here I have a little clear piece that's from Maggie Holmes too. It's one of those cut aparts. I'm just going to layer that on top because I found it in my scrap pouch, so I'm going to use it. Yeah, so like I said before, I was a bit afraid it was going to be a bit too sugary, and yeah, it is borderline, but there is like a lot of swans there, and I think it looks so pretty. So can we talk about a few other ways, because my layout is pretty much done here. I'm just going to add a title and then some enamel dots. I feel like swans, I mean, honestly, I think I could put a swan on pretty much everything because I just love swans. But if you find it a bit hard, then I would recommend or suggest looking into like if somebody is like doing a ballet, obviously, weddings. I think you use swans for that because they're pretty. Um, yeah. If you have some suggestions about where to put swans, leave them in the comment. Here I have showed you how many swans you could put on a 6x12 page. I'm really happy with how this one came out. I think it's very, very sweet. And I hope you have liked this little odd embellishment series and it has given you some tips.